Hello my loves, and welcome back to another video. In this video I want to go over how I am preparing my body for a VBAC in my third trimester. I'm currently 30 weeks pregnant, so that means I only have 10 weeks to go. So let's start off with, it's not initially a VBAC, if that makes sense. So what you are trying for is a TOLAC, which is a trial of labor after cesarean. And basically this just means that you are attempting a VBAC. A VBAC is a successful vaginal birth after C-section. Upon my research, about 20 to 40% of TOLACs end in a C-section. However, my odds specifically 50%, and that is because of my previous history of a large baby and because I have gestational diabetes. If you don't know what gestational diabetes is, I'll just pop something up on the screen really quick so you can take a look or do a little bit of research on your own. Of course, I have talked about my gestational diabetes in previous videos, and I will continue to make videos specifically about gestational diabetes. When it comes to VBACs, there is actually a 1% chance of uterine rupture, which is super scary, and if that happens, there is a good chance that you could lose your uterus, your ovaries, or everything or nothing. So there are definitely chances being taken. I have set this video up into 4 parts. So the first part is going to be my proactive appointments, meaning I am going to all of my regular OB appointments as well as some extra maternal fetal appointments, which is like a specialized doctor in, they have a couple more years education in the baby section, if that makes sense. I also am having growth scans every 4 weeks right now, and I have it scheduled until the end of my pregnancy, which is about 40-ish weeks. However, if we go past 40 weeks, we will be scheduling spontaneous growth scans. I will also be doing stress tests before 40 weeks, and then if I go past 40 weeks again, I will do more stress tests. Into the next part, diet. So my diet has completely changed. When I first got pregnant, I was having a lot of gut issues, so I'm having food sensitivities to peanut butter and to gluten, so I try to stay away from those, which makes it really hard on my next issue, which was gestational diabetes. So on top of not being able to eat gluten and then having to restrict carbs, specifically at every meal, it has made food a challenge. So at breakfast, I can have 30 grams of carbs. I try to stick to a high amount of protein at every meal as well and in my snacks. For lunch and dinner, I can have 35 to 40 grams of carbs. Like I said, for snacks, I try to keep it a little bit more protein based unless it's in the evening after dinner snack. That snack, I try to sneak in a little bit more sugar so that it will last me longer through the night while I'm fasting. And so far, that has worked for me really well. My fasting numbers are looking great. Next up, this category is exercise. And for exercise, I have a 2-year-old, so I'm consistently running after a 2-year-old up and down stairs, in and out of doors, going grocery shopping with him, and doing a lot of activities outside. I also try to go on walks as much as possible, weather permitting. If it's raining, it's a little bit more difficult to take a toddler on a walk, or if it's just like extremely hot, that's not gonna work either. However, on nice warm days, or even days that just aren't raining, that's when we will go out for a walk around the block. It might be like 20 to 30 minutes. I also like to do stretching and or yoga. This is usually about 15 minutes, and I like to do those in the morning as compared to at night. At night, there's just too much routine going on with dinner and putting my toddler to sleep that it's just easier that way. And lastly, for exercise, I started going to Pilates classes. I've been going to Club Pilates, and they are literally the sweetest, most educating Pilates people I have ever met. And I'm so excited to continue going, and I hope to go back after I have the baby as well. Time will only tell, and of course, if I have a VBAC or a C-section, will definitely make a difference on when I can go back to that. All right, last category, number 4, and I think this one is the most important, for me at least, and that's mental health. I've always been a super self-care kind of person, so the first thing is super easy for me, but self-care, it can be a little bit more exhausting or time-consuming now that I'm in my 3rd trimester, but I always make it work, whether it's nail care, hair care, skincare, body care, whatever that looks like. I also had to come to an understanding of why I had a C-section to begin with, and I think this is very important. You can talk to your OB or your midwife or whoever and get that information from them. And then with that is coming to terms that you had a C-section. It was really difficult for me to come to terms with having a C-section, especially in the first year of having Carter. But since then, getting the facts and being educated, I have been able to come to terms with that. For me specifically, also being okay with if I do end up having a C-section. Depending on how the growth scans look going forward, I'm definitely going to make a big decision in that, whether I have the elected C-section or if I continue on my path to have a VBAC. And last but not least, this one's super important, but try to be outside as much as possible and soak in as much vitamin D. What I like to do now is like uncover my tummy, like if we're not in public, of course, and let my tummy get a lot of sun too, so that the baby can get the difference between like night and day and kind of just feel out what I'm doing in the normal day-to-day life. So that is how I am preparing my body for a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after C-section. If you have any questions, comments, or things you just like to say in the comments, that would be great. And I will see you in the next video.